So there was me on Friday night seeing Paul McCartney for the third time, and yeah, it was bittersweet and sad in some ways, but also I think it was the best one of the three that I've been to, or I should say the most meaningful, maybe be more correct. Um, Big crowd. It's the baseball stadium there holds I think about 50,000 people. So there were probably 45,000. There are certain sections behind the stage where they didn't sell seats. So, um, but I didn't see any empty seats really. The that the places where they had sold seats. One of the big complaints among the Beatle people is that Paul needs to play more deep tracks or mix up his set more. Stop playing the same old every tour, which I agree. But this was pretty much a par for the course. You got all the old standbys: "Let It Be," "Hey Jude," "Maybe I'm Amazed," "Band on the Run," "Live and Let Die," of course. The open with "Hard Day's Night." Did "Helter Skelter," Eleanor Rigby, all the things you would expect. The surprises were few and far between. You did get "Letting Go," "Junior's Farm," and "Let Me Roll It." And I don't know how often he plays that because, like I said, I've only seen him three times, and I know a lot of people on here have seen him 5, 10, 15, or more times. But it's good to hear those, and they did a pretty good job on that. The only maybe three things that I would have considered surprising to some degree, he did "Dance Tonight," the opening track off "Memory Almost Full." Love that song. I wish I think if that would have been released back in the 70s or early 80s when Paul still got radio play, that would have been a hit, might have been a number one. But it's one of my, up there with my favorite Paul solo songs. And yeah, so that was kind of neat to hear him play a song that probably 90% of the people in the audience had no idea what it was. The other thing he did was "Queenie Eye" from New. And I know that, I think he's done "Dance Tonight" on previous tours, if I'm not mistaken. But "Queenie Eye" from New, which I know he had played back in 2012 or so when the new album was new. But usually, he'll play songs from his current album on whatever tour, and then after that, he'll just drop them and move on to the next album and fill out the rest of the show with Beatles songs and old Wings and Paul well known hits. But it was nice to see him still playing "Queenie Eye," and you could kind of tell, or I could kind of tell, the people sitting around me didn't seem to be too familiar with it, but by the middle of the song or the end of the song, it's a great song, and they were getting into it and so forth, so that was fun. And he did "In Spite of All the Danger," the old Quarrymen song, as he introduced it, and he told the story about how they saved up to make the record, and each one got to keep it for a week and so forth. A really good version, nice rockabilly version of that, and the crowd was really getting into it. And at the end of the song, he started up again and had the crowd sing along, which he also did with "Obla Di Obla Da," and of course "Hey Jude." Um, yeah, so I was glad to see that he didn't do "Silly Love Songs" or "My Love." He did do "Let 'Em In." That was the only thing he did from "Speed of Sound." Um, So, and you had "Here Today," of course, and "Something," of course. I wish, and I've only seen him three times again, like I said, but every time I've seen him, he's done that. Well, he didn't do "Something" in '89 because George was still alive, but really wish he'd find another John song to sing. That's not a John song, he wrote it, but I mean to do a John song, and I wish he'd find another George song. George wrote a ton of songs for the Beatles, or more than just the one anyway. And I still think "Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth" would be a good song to sing for George tribute. But, he didn't ask me, so I did like the "Something" version, I gotta admit, though, because when I saw him, last time I saw him, which is coming up on nearly 20 years ago now, I think, if I remember correct, he did the whole thing just on the ukulele, just him singing and that for the whole song. This time around, he did the first half playing the ukulele and singing, and then when the guitar solo came in, his guitarist plays the guitar solo with the spotlight on him, and then when the lights come back up, Paul's got an electric guitar and finishes the song with the whole band. And so it worked well. And of course, they were playing, projecting pictures of George on the screen back behind the stage and on the side of the stage, and that was an emotional moment. And kind of teared up a little, to be honest with you. Same with before the show started, they had a film, kind of a slideshow running up the screens on either side of the stage, and there was one part where had a picture of John from '65, and even though I know it, and it's just every once in a while, just it's one of those moments where it hits you that, man, this guy's gone, and for no good reason, and I think we all do that with people that we've lost. Every once in a while, it just hits you anew, sort of. So, on the downside, what else? From the new album, he only did 3 songs. He did "Come On to Me," "Who Cares," and "For You." "Come On to Me" was pretty good. "Who Cares" came off pretty good. I'm just so on that song. "For You" is a song which I didn't really like and haven't grown to like, but I will give credit because it works better live, and the audience was getting into it, and it actually sounded not bad live. So I'm not a fan of it or anything really, but did work well live. Um, his voice is you know compared to normal people, he can still sing well, but the Paul McCartney voice is deteriorated badly and almost gone, unfortunately. So, which is heartbreaking, but that's the reality of time marches on, unfortunately. So that was really obvious on a lot of the when he did "Maybe I'm Amazed," when he did "Here Today," because it was just him and an acoustic guitar. "Hey Jude." Sometimes his voice sounded okay, but other times it sounded not so good, and the weaknesses really were evident. "Hey Jude," for example, which I love that song. I mean, that's still my second favorite song of all time, but I really wish he would. I don't know how much he's going to tour from now on anyway, but if he's at all, but I really wish he'd give that one a rest and let it be, and some of the others, "Maybe I'm Amazed." But anyway, during the na 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 part of "Hey Jude," where everyone sings along, he didn't even attempt to do any of the screamy, shouty parts. He just sat at the piano and sort of walked around and led people through the sing along, and so that was sad to see. Um, and I think that's what hit me was that when I saw him in '89, when I saw him in 2001, I was not really thinking of when this is going to end or anything, and he was still in good voice back then. And you think that's 30 years and 20 years ago almost for 2001. It doesn't seem like it, but it is. But this is the first time when it's been on my mind going in that this might be it. I don't know if he's going to tour again, and he might do a few, or even if he does, it's not going to be for too much longer. And I don't know if he's going to make another album, and even if he does, it's not going to be you know for too much longer, unfortunately. And so you hate to be morbid, but reality is reality, and so that was kind of on my mind going in there. But on the other hand, it was great to see that you could just hate to sound hippy dippy, but you could feel the crowd, the love. They love Paul McCartney, and in a way that I don't think really other musicians or famous people get. Maybe Sinatra and Elvis back in the day or something, but and the Beatles when they were around. But it just I'm not sure if I'm putting that into words that make any sense, but you could kind of feel that he's someone special to people in a different way. And so it was great to be able to see him. It was great to be, and I was way up in the upper. I was like 9 or 10 rows from the very last row at the top of the stadium. So he looked like he was about that tall to me, but thank God for the big video screens. And but just to be in the same place with him and to watch him, and there's a actual Beatle there, and even though the voice is shot, it was still the enthusiasm. And the other thing, ever since with Egypt Station and the James Corden special and all that, he's kind of cut down on the Sir Thumbs Aloft cheer and goofiness, and played it straight. Um, So that was nice, and he seemed like he was getting into it. There's one part when he was talking about after back in the USSR, when he was talking about when he played in Russia in Red Square. It was telling a little story, and he was sitting at the piano, just leaning up against it, and seemed really relaxed, and seemed like he was. I don't want to say he was talking to me, but it seemed like he was talking to me. It seems like he was talking individually to all 40,000 people in there. He just kind of a connection moment or something. Not sure how to explain it, but that was nice. Um, Good to see all ages in there. I mean, I miss the days of I miss being young. I miss going to concerts back in the '80s where everybody was, 16 or 20 or whatever, and the majority of people there were like my age or older. So kind of looking around, thinking like, "Damn, did I go to a concert? Did I wander in the AARP convention here?" But you did see a lot of little kids. You did see a lot of teenagers and 20 somethings, and wearing Beatles and Paul shirts, and they seemed to be into it and singing the songs and all. And it's kind of cute. There was a husband and wife with their little daughter that looked like she's about 4 or 5, sitting in front of me, and she had her Paul McCartney baseball hat and shirt on, and she must have known who he was because there's certain songs and she'd hop up and sing along and dance along. So I guess her parents, you know, um, showed her that music and she liked it. And another a friend of mine that went, I don't know, he didn't sit, I don't know where he sat, but him and his wife went, and he told me that he's got kids, and I think they're 6 and 3 or something like that, and they'd never been to a concert before at all. So he wanted Paul McCartney to be their first concert. So that's a neat memory, I think, for those kids, and just to see all ages and people having fun. Um, the prices were ridiculous. I was looking at the T-shirts and the programs because I think Beetle Brad had come on here and showed the program that he bought. And the couple of days before I went to the concert, thought I'll get that, get a program, $40 damn, and then the shirts were like $50. And maybe that's what things cost at all concerts nowadays. I don't know. I went to concerts all the time back in the '80s when I was, high school, college, 20s. I think since '89 when I saw Paul, I've probably been to like maybe 6 or 7 concerts. I just don't go that much anymore. I remember when concerts were 9, 10, $12 to get in instead of the insane prices now, but I wasn't going to pay $50 for a t-shirt and 40 for a program, even though they had a really cool t-shirt that I liked. And Joe, Mr. Mayo, I'd told him that, and he kind of made a point that I can't totally disagree with. He said, you don't know if you're ever going to see him again. This could be your once in a lifetime, even though I've seen him 3 times. So if you spend $100 on a program and a shirt you like, is it going to matter 10 years from now? And that's probably true, but all the same, I guess because before I went there, I forgot to eat before I went, and I was looking at the absurd, ungodly prices for $14 for a hamburger, 7 for French fries, and $5.50 for a bottle of water, and saying that to the Texas Rangers organization. So I wasn't in the mood for $50 T-shirt sticker shock, but it was a cool shirt. I would like to have. I mean, they had several shirts to choose from, but there was one in particular that had a shot of him recording the Ram album. It was really cool. What else? What else? Yeah, that's all. I would say the voice is shot. The set is pretty much the same as it's been since 1989. He just has a group of songs he kind of shuffles around, I guess, and adds a couple of new from whatever his new album is at the time. But if you get a chance to see him, I would say go for it because just the vibe in there was fun. There's the kind of morbid, maybe even sad bit that we don't know if he's going to tour anymore after this, or you know, and really hate to see it, but he's 76 years old, 77. I think his birthday was this weekend, so you almost hate to say it, but you know, so take advantage of that, and it was just a joy to see him, even though his voice isn't what it was. He can still play. He's damn, on the bass. I think you don't. He'll talk about his piano playing, which is really good, and I really enjoyed it. So I would say if he comes to your town, go see him. Um, have one of your friends tell the t-shirt guy, what's that over there, and grab one of those instead of paying that highway robbery price. And yeah, anyway,